The moment I walked into that dining room with my small cardboard box, I knew they were going to laugh. What I didn't know was that in 10 minutes those same people would be on their knees begging me not to destroy their dreams. But hold on, before we begin the story, drop a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching this. My name is Samantha Reed, but everyone calls me Sam. I'm 29 years old, and I work as an interior designer in San Francisco. My husband Ethan is a software engineer, but he couldn't make it to Christmas dinner this year. His company sent him on a last-minute business trip to New York. So, there I was, walking into the Reed family Christmas dinner alone, carrying what looked like trash in my hands. The Reed family lived in a big house in Dallas, Texas. Everything about them screamed money and status. Margaret Reed, my mother-in-law, always wore perfect makeup and acted like she was better than everyone. Thomas Reed, my father-in-law, owned 3 car dealerships and never let anyone forget it. Then there was Jasmine, Ethan's little sister, who spent all day making TikTok videos and rolling her eyes at everything I said. Ryan, the oldest brother, thought he was the king of the family just because he worked at some fancy law firm. And don't forget Uncle George, who loved making mean jokes about people just to watch them squirm. Well, look who showed up, Ryan said as I walked through the door. He was already 3 drinks deep and feeling extra bold. Where's Ethan? Finally got tired of babysitting? I forced a smile. He's in New York for work. He sends his love. Margaret looked me up and down like she was judging a used car. That's too bad, dear. Family should always come first, don't you think? The dining room was decorated like something from a magazine. Fresh flowers everywhere, expensive china, crystal glasses that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Everyone was dressed in their finest clothes, showing off their wealth like peacocks. I was wearing a simple red dress I bought on sale last year. So Sam, Thomas said, cutting into his prime rib, how's the decorating business going? He always said it like that. Like what I did wasn't real work. It's interior design and it's going great. I just finished a project for a tech CEO in Silicon Valley. Jasmine looked up from her phone for 2 seconds. Oh wow, you hung some curtains. How impressive. Everyone laughed except me. This was normal for the Reed family dinners. They'd take turns making little comments about my job, my clothes, my family background. They never said anything directly mean, but they made sure I knew I didn't belong. My family wasn't rich like theirs. But to them, I was just the girl who wasn't good enough for their precious Ethan. Well, Margaret said, clapping her hands together. Shall we do presents now? This was the moment I'd been waiting for all year. Everyone gathered around the massive Christmas tree in the living room. The pile of gifts underneath looked like a small mountain. Designer handbags, expensive jewelry, the latest electronics. Everything wrapped in perfect paper with silk ribbons. Then there was my gift. I pulled out the small cardboard box from my purse. It was plain brown, about the size of a jewelry box, with no wrapping paper. No bow, nothing fancy at all. The room went dead silent. Ryan started chuckling first. What's that supposed to be? It's my gift to the family, I said, holding the box out to Margaret. She took it like it might explode. Oh, how thoughtful. Thomas leaned over to look. Did you wrap it in a shipping box? The laughter started small, but it grew louder. Jasmine was recording everything on her phone, probably planning to post it later with some mean caption. Uncle George was slapping his knee like this was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. I'm sorry, Ryan said, wiping tears from his eyes, but this is priceless. You really showed up to Christmas dinner with a cardboard box? Maybe there's something valuable inside, Jasmine said in a baby voice. Like a friendship bracelet she made in arts and crafts. More laughter. Margaret was trying to be polite, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. Should I open it now? Please do, I said, my voice steady. She opened the box slowly, like she was afraid of what she might find. Inside was a folded piece of paper, legal-looking, official. Her face changed instantly. What is it, Mom? Ryan asked, his laughter dying. Margaret unfolded the paper with shaking hands. Her eyes went wide. This is a deed. A what? Thomas grabbed the paper from her. His face went white. This is a deed to a property in Lake Tahoe. The room was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Lake Tahoe? Jasmine whispered, suddenly interested. Thomas kept reading. It's a vacation villa. 3 bedrooms, lakefront property, worth, oh my God. How much? Ryan demanded. $2.5 million. You could have heard a feather hit the floor. And according to this, Thomas continued, his voice shaking, it's owned jointly by Margaret Reed, Thomas Reed, Ryan Reed, and Jasmine Reed. Margaret looked at the paper, then at me, then back at the paper. You're giving us a villa? I nodded. Merry Christmas. The change was immediate and disgusting. Suddenly, I wasn't the poor girl who didn't belong. I was their favorite person in the world. Oh, honey! Margaret jumped up and hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. I am so sorry about earlier. We were just joking around, you know how families are. Sam, this is incredible. Ryan was shaking my hand like I'd just saved his life. I always knew you were special. Ethan is so lucky to have you. Jasmine was crying actual tears. I'm sorry for being mean. You're like the best sister-in-law ever. Can we be best friends now? Really? Because 5 minutes ago, Jasmine was making TikTok videos of you all laughing at my gift. Jasmine's face went red. She tried to hide her phone behind her back. And Ryan, didn't you just call me a babysitter that your brother got tired of? Ryan stepped forward. Sam, come on. We were just having fun earlier. You know we love you. That was just a joke, was it? Because it didn't feel like a joke when you said it. Margaret tried a different approach. Honey, we're family. Families tease each other. It doesn't mean anything. Family? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about family? Real family doesn't laugh when someone gives them a gift from the heart. Real family doesn't spend 3 years making someone feel like they're not good enough. I walked over to the fireplace where a nice warm fire was crackling. You know what real family does? They love you whether you're rich or poor. They defend you when people make mean comments. They make you feel welcome in their home. I held the deed closer to the flames. No! Margaret screamed. Don't! Please, Thomas begged. We'll do better. We promise. We're sorry. Jasmine was crying real tears now. Please don't burn it. Why not? I asked. 2 minutes ago you thought it was worthless trash. We were wrong. Ryan said, we were so wrong. Just please don't destroy it. I looked around the room at their desperate faces. These people who had spent years making me feel small were now begging me not to take away something they had no right to expect. You want to know the truth? I said. I never planned to give you this villa. Not for a second. Their faces fell. There's one more thing, I said, holding up my hand. I reached into my purse and pulled out a second envelope. The room went quiet again. What's that? Ryan asked, his voice suspicious. Just some additional paperwork, I said, opening the envelope slowly. I pulled out another deed. This one looked almost identical to the first one, except for one small detail. What does it say? Margaret asked, reaching for it. I held it just out of her reach. This is the real deed to the Lake Tahoe property. Real deed? Thomas frowned. What do you mean? I smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. The one you're holding is fake. I had it printed at a copy shop downtown for about $5. The color drained from every face in the room. You see this deed? I held up the real one. Has only one name on it. Samantha Reed. That's me. Margaret's mouth fell open. You lied. I wanted to see what would happen if you thought I was giving you something valuable. I wanted to see how quickly you'd change your tune. The room was so tense I could feel it in the air. And you know what? It took exactly 37 seconds. 37 seconds for you to go from laughing at me to treating me like family. Now wait just a minute, Thomas said, his voice getting loud. You can't what? I stood up, still holding the real deed. Can't show you exactly who you really are. I bought it for me and Ethan. It's our dream house. The place where we want to spend our anniversaries and maybe bring our kids someday. But I wanted you to see who you really are. I wanted you to see how fast you'd change when you thought there was money involved. Margaret was crying now. Real tears, not the fake ones she used to get her way. We're horrible people, she whispered. No, I said. You're just people who forgot what matters. I sat back down, still holding both deeds. I want you to think about something. They all leaned forward, hanging on my every word. For 3 years, I sat at this table while you made jokes about my job, my clothes, my family. You treated me like I was some charity case that your son felt sorry for. We didn't mean, Thomas started. Yes, you did. You absolutely did. Because in your minds, I wasn't worth respect unless I had money. And the second you thought I was rich, suddenly, I was the best thing that ever happened to this family. I stood up and walked toward the door. Where are you going? Margaret asked. Home. Back to San Francisco. Back to my husband who loves me whether I'm rich or poor. Back to my life. Will you come back next year? Jasmine asked in a small voice. I turned around at the doorway. That depends on you. All of you. What do you mean? Ryan asked. I mean, if you can learn to treat people with respect regardless of what they can give you, then maybe we can try again. But if next year I walk in here and get the same treatment I got tonight, I'll walk right back out. And I won't come back again. I looked around the room one more time. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you figure out what that really means. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. But as I got to my rental car, I could hear them through the window. They were fighting, screaming at each other about whose fault it was that they'd lost their chance at millions of dollars. This is your fault, Ryan. Margaret was yelling. You started with the babysitter comment. My fault? Dad's the one who called her job decorating. Don't blame me. Thomas shot back. Jasmine was recording everything for her stupid videos. It's not stupid. Jasmine screamed. And at least I didn't laugh first. That was Uncle George. I sat in my car for a minute, listening to them destroy each other. This was the family that Ethan had grown up with. No wonder he worked so much. No wonder he was always so quiet when we visited. The drive to the airport was the most peaceful drive of my life. My phone kept buzzing with text messages from the Reed family, but I didn't read them. I had nothing more to say. The first message came from Margaret at 11:47 p.m. Sam, please come back. We need to talk. Then Ryan at 11:52 p.m. This is crazy. You can't just leave like this. Jasmine at 12:15 a.m. I deleted the video. Please don't hate us. Thomas at 12:33 a.m. We should discuss this like adults. Uncle. George at 1:22 a.m. Kid, that was brutal. Respect. I turned my phone off. On the plane back to San Francisco, I called Ethan. How did dinner go? He asked. It was educational. That bad? I laughed. Actually, I think it was exactly what needed to happen. I told him the whole story. About the fake deed, the real deed, their reactions to both. He was quiet for a long time. Jesus, Sam, I had no idea they were that bad to you. I never wanted to make you choose between me and your family. You shouldn't have had to protect me from the truth. He was quiet for another minute. Then he said something that surprised me. You know what? I'm proud of you. Proud of me for lying to your family. Proud of you for standing up for yourself. For showing them exactly who they are. I've been watching them treat people badly my whole life, and I never had the guts to call them out like that. I'm sorry, he said finally. For what? For my family. For how they've treated you. I should have stood up for you more. You couldn't have known how bad it was. I never told you the worst parts because I didn't want to hurt you. Well, that changes now. From now on, if they can't treat you with respect, they don't get to see either of us. When I got home to our apartment in San Francisco, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. Our little place with its mismatched furniture and plants everywhere felt like paradise compared to that cold mansion in Dallas. I made myself a cup of tea and sat on our couch, looking out at the city lights. For 3 years, I'd been trying to fit into a family that didn't want me. I'd bought expensive Christmas gifts I couldn't afford, dressed up in clothes that weren't really me, and smiled through insults that cut deep. But tonight, for the first time, I'd been completely myself, and it felt amazing. The next morning, I woke up to several missed calls and text messages. I finally decided to read them. Margaret, Sam, I couldn't sleep all night. Please call me. Ryan, we were out of line. Can we start over? Jasmine, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how mean we were being. Thomas, your reaction was extreme, but maybe we deserved it. Even Uncle George. You got us good, kid. Made us look in the mirror and we didn't like what we saw. But the one that surprised me most was from Margaret, sent at 4:30 in the morning. I keep thinking about what you said. About how we treated you versus how we treated the idea of your money. You were right. We are horrible people. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try. I showed all the messages to Ethan when he got home from his business trip. They seemed genuinely sorry, he said. Or they're just sorry they lost their chance at a free vacation house. Maybe, but my mom doesn't usually text at 4:30 in the morning unless something's really bothering her. Over the next few weeks, the messages kept coming. I was working from home, designing a nursery for a client in Palo Alto, when the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and couldn't believe what I saw. My mother-in-law was standing in my hallway, holding a small suitcase and looking nervous. I opened the door slowly. Margaret? What are you doing here? I flew out this morning, she said. I hope that's okay. I know I should have called first, but I was afraid you'd tell me not to come. She looked different. Older, maybe. More tired, but also more real somehow. How did you get my address? Ethan gave it to me. He said you might be ready to talk. I let her in, mostly because I was too shocked to do anything else. She sat on our old couch and looked around our little apartment. Instead of the judgment I expected to see in her eyes, there was something else. Curiosity, maybe. Or even admiration. This is lovely, she said, and I could tell she meant it. It feels like a real home. Thanks. I sat across from her in Ethan's favorite chair. So why are you here? Margaret took a deep breath. I came to apologize. Really apologize. Not just with words, but with actions. She opened her purse and pulled out a check. This is for you. I looked at the amount and my eyes went wide. It was for $50,000. I don't understand. After you left that night, I couldn't stop thinking about what you said. About how we treated you versus how we treated your money. So I started adding up every mean comment, every dismissive look, every time we made you feel small. She paused, her voice getting shaky. Then I tried to put a dollar amount on the pain we caused you. This seemed like a start. I stared at the check. I can't take this. Why not? Because this isn't about money. It never was. I know that now. But I also know that respect without action is just words. And words are cheap. She put the check on our coffee table and left it there. There's something else, she said. I enrolled in therapy. Real therapy, not just the kind where you complain about your problems. The kind where you actually have to change. That's good. My therapist asked me to write down every memory I have of being cruel to you. It took me 6 pages. Sam, 6 full pages of ways I hurt someone who was trying to love my son. I could see tears in her eyes now. The worst part is that you reminded me of myself when I was young. Hardworking, independent, trying to make it in a world that didn't take me seriously. And instead of supporting you, I tore you down because it made me feel better about my own failures. We sat in silence for a minute. What do you want from me, Margaret? Nothing, she said quickly. I don't want anything. I just wanted you to know that we're all working on ourselves. Ryan's been sober for 2 months. Jasmine got a job at a nonprofit. Thomas has been volunteering at a homeless shelter. And Uncle George? She almost smiled. Uncle George is, well, he's still Uncle George. But even he's been nicer to the waitstaff at restaurants. I looked at this woman who had spent 3 years making me feel worthless. She looked so small sitting on my couch, so different from the proud, cold person I'd known. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Anything. Why did you all change? Really? Was it just because you found out I had money?" Margaret was quiet for a long time. Then she said something I didn't expect. "No, it was because of how you walked away." "What do you mean?" "You didn't scream at us. You didn't call us names. You didn't try to hurt us back. You just left. With dignity. And that made us realize what we'd lost." She wiped her eyes with a tissue. "For 3 years, we had this amazing woman in our family. Someone who was talented and kind and strong. And we were so busy looking down on you that we never bothered to look up and see who you really were. When you walked out that night, we didn't just lose the idea of a vacation house. We lost you. And that's when we realized you were worth more than any property in Lake Tahoe." I felt my own eyes getting watery. "I need you to understand something," I said. "I'm not the same person who used to sit quietly while you made jokes about my job. That person is gone." "Good," Margaret said. "She deserved better than what we gave her. If I decide to give you another chance, and I'm not saying I will, things will be different. I won't pretend to laugh at mean jokes. I won't smile when someone puts me down. I won't stay quiet to keep the peace." Margaret nodded. "I wouldn't want you to. And if anyone in your family goes back to treating me the way they used to, I'll leave again. And this time, I won't come back. I understand." I looked at the check still sitting on my table. "I'm not taking your money. I know. But I'll think about giving you another chance." Margaret's face lit up like a child's on Christmas morning. "Really? Really? But it's going to take time. And it's going to take more than one conversation." "I have time," she said. "As much time as you need." We talked for another hour. She asked about my work, really asked and listened to my answers. She told me about her therapy sessions and how hard it was to admit that she'd been wrong about so many things. When she left, she hugged me goodbye. It wasn't the fake society hug I was used to getting from her. It was real. Over the next few months, the rest of the family reached out one by one. Not demanding forgiveness, but asking for chances to prove they'd changed. I told Ethan about everyone. "I think," he said, pulling me close, "that my wife is pretty amazing. She managed to teach my family something in one night that I couldn't teach them in 30 years. So, should we give them another chance?" He smiled. "That's up to you. But if we do, and they mess up again, I'll be the one walking out the door with you." "Actually," I said, "I think I want to try something different this time." "What do you mean?" "Instead of just showing up for Christmas and hoping for the best, what if we invited them here? To our home, on our terms? You want them to come to San Francisco? I want to see if they can respect me in my own space. If they can appreciate what I've built instead of looking down on it. And if they can't, then we'll know they haven't really changed." We decided to invite them for Easter. Not Christmas. That holiday still felt too loaded with bad memories. But Easter felt like a fresh start. I spent weeks planning the menu, decorating our little apartment, making everything perfect. But this time I wasn't trying to impress them. I was just being myself. Margaret was the first to arrive. She brought flowers, not expensive orchids or roses, but simple daisies from a local shop. She said she remembered seeing a photo of daisies on my Instagram and thought I might like them. "Your apartment is even more beautiful than I remembered," she said, looking around. "You have such a gift for making spaces feel warm." Thomas came next. Instead of his usual suit, he was wearing jeans and a simple button-down shirt. He complimented my cooking and asked if I'd teach him how to make my pasta sauce. Ryan arrived sober and brought his girlfriend, a sweet teacher named Lisa who'd been helping him work on his issues. Jasmine came with stories from her job and pictures of the teenagers she'd been mentoring. Even Uncle George was different. He still told jokes, but they were silly puns instead of mean comments about other people. The conversation was easy, natural. They asked about my work and listened to my answers. They shared stories about their volunteer work and their therapy sessions. They treated me like family. After dinner, we sat on our little balcony looking out at the city lights. Margaret sat next to me on the outdoor couch we bought at a secondhand store. "I have something for you," she said, pulling a small box out of her purse. My heart skipped. Another box, another potential disaster. But when I opened it, inside was a simple silver necklace with a small pendant that said, "Strong." I saw it at a little jewelry store and it made me think of you, she said. "Because you are strong. Stronger than any of us realized." I put it on right away. It felt perfect. As the evening wound down and everyone left, Ethan and I sat on our couch in comfortable silence. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Good," I said, and I meant it. Really good. They seemed different. They were different. I could feel it. "So, does this mean we're going back to family dinners?" I laughed. "Maybe, but next time they're rude to a server or make fun of someone else, I'm calling them out." "No more staying quiet to keep the peace." "Good," Ethan said. "Because the woman I married doesn't stay quiet when things are wrong." "You're right. She doesn't. That villa in Lake Tahoe? Ethan and I go there every anniversary. Sometimes Margaret and Thomas come visit, and we have quiet family dinners where everyone actually enjoys each other's company. The deed still has only our names on it. But now that doesn't matter, because the people who love us for who we are, not what we own. The best revenge isn't always about hurting people back. Sometimes the best revenge is walking away and letting people face the consequences of their choices. And if they're lucky, those consequences will teach them to be better. The Reed family got lucky. They learned to be better. The real gift was learning that I didn't need their approval to know my worth. I was valuable all along. I just needed to stop accepting anything less than the respect I deserved. And now, every Christmas when we sit around their table or they come to ours, I'm just Sam, wife, mother, daughter-in-law, sister. And that's exactly how it should be. And sometimes, just sometimes, the best Christmas gifts come in the smallest packages.